Bronze is not a discovery, it is an invention. That distinction matters. Every other major prehistoric material, flint, obsidian, copper, gold, exists in nature and can be used as found. Bronze does not exist in nature. It has to be made. It requires taking two separate metals, melting them together in exactly the right proportions, and producing something fundamentally different from either of them. Whoever figured that out for the first time was doing something no human had ever done before. They were not finding a material, they were creating one. To understand bronze, you have to start with copper. Copper is the metal that changed everything before bronze did. It appears naturally at the Earth's surface in its pure metallic form, unlike iron, which must be smelted from ore. Early humans in Anatolia and the surrounding region were hammering native copper into tools and ornaments as far back as 9,000 years ago. But copper has a problem. It is soft. A copper blade holds an edge poorly. A copper tool bends under stress. For light work and ornamentation, copper is excellent. For anything that requires hardness, axes, weapons, armor, copper falls short. The solution, when it came, was accidental, and it came from the furnace. Smelting copper, heating copper ore to extract the metal, was well established by around 5,000 years ago, and copper ores are rarely pure. They frequently occur alongside other minerals, including tin and arsenic, in the same geological deposits. The most likely path to bronze is this. Someone smelted copper ore that happened to contain tin and found that the resulting metal was different, harder, stronger, better at holding an edge. The first bronzes were probably accidental, the product of mixed ores rather than deliberate alloying, but the difference was noticeable. A bronze blade outlasts a copper blade. A bronze axe holds its edge through work that would dull copper. Once the result was experienced, the question became how to reproduce it. That required understanding, at least practically, that the difference came from what was in the ore, and eventually, that the same result could be achieved deliberately by adding tin to copper in a controlled way. Tin is a soft metal on its own. Copper is a soft metal on its own, mixed together in roughly a 10-to-1 ratio. 10 parts copper to 1 part tin. They produce something neither of them is individually. Bronze is harder than either parent metal. It is more resistant to corrosion. It casts more cleanly into molds. And critically, it is easier to sharpen and maintain an edge on than copper alone. The reason is at the atomic level. Tin atoms are larger than copper atoms. When tin is dissolved into the copper structure, the tin atoms disrupt the regular arrangement that allows copper to deform easily. The result is a lattice that resists deformation, a harder, stronger material. The ancient metalworkers did not know this. What they knew was that the recipe worked, and that knowledge was extraordinarily valuable. The deliberate production of bronze, mixing copper and tin in controlled proportions, appears to have developed in the Middle East and spreading to the Aegean and Europe between roughly 3000 and 2000 BCE. This transition defines the Bronze Age, and it was not just a technological change, it was an economic one. Tin and copper rarely occur in the same place. Producing bronze required trade networks connecting tin sources, Cornwall in Britain, the mountains of Afghanistan, parts of Central Europe, with copper sources hundreds or thousands of kilometers away. Bronze was not just a metal, it was proof that ancient economies had already become genuinely complex. The civilizations of the Bronze Age, Mesopotamia, Egypt, Mycenaean Greece, the Indus Valley, were all sustained by these long-distance trade networks. The metal that built their weapons, their tools, and their monuments arrived assembled from components sourced on opposite sides of the ancient world. So, how did ancient humans discover bronze? By accident first, by observation second, by intention third. Copper ore containing tin produced something better. The better result was noticed and replicated. Replication became controlled production. Controlled production required trade networks spanning continents. Those trade networks became the circulatory system of the ancient world. Bronze did not just make better tools. It made the ancient world more connected than it had ever been. And it started with someone pulling something unexpected out of a furnace and noticing that it was harder than it should have been. Like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. I'll see you in the next one.